Focus of the recent publication of African Business, focusing on the challenging male economic dominance, and you can read all about it inside the latest copy. Also being featured inside is Turkey's Ankara consensus targets Africa. Africa's Eurobond market rose back to life. Namibia prepares for life after Gengob. Africa's vibrant video game sector. Oil majors depart for offshores. Nigeria. And business rules Senegal's election flip-flop. You can read all about it inside the African business. And also there is an interview there with Mo DG's food production plan. The latest copy of The Economist looks like this, and they are off. What could append America's election? It is a slippery slope, as you can see, the banana skins there. And we have President Biden and Donald Trump, who are slated to be going neck and neck in this election. You can read all about it inside the recent copy of The Economist. This is how it looks. Also, inside Foley and the Ivies, the Oscars go global, and slimming drugs, fat profits, China's fantasy growth, all that tucked away inside the latest copy of The Economist as well. Looking at the new Newsweek, this is what you are looking at this week. RX and AI, hospital bosses are baiting on big tech. It's all about artificial intelligence. Also inside world's best hospitals are tucked away inside the recent copy of the Newsweek. And the week as well, this is a US one, separate worlds, how the growing political gender gap is pushing young men and women apart. This is on page 16. Will her supporters back Trump? This is Nick Haley. What will be the turnout of this? You can read all about it inside the recent copy of the week. And also, this is the week, the UK publication. Gallo is back. Gallo is back, a maverick at Westminster. You can read all about it to get all the words about the politics there. And the last days of Alexei Navalny is also inside the recent copy of the week as well. All right, the balance for them that also want to get all the wise as far as financial advisors or advising is concerned, bet on the bull. Stocks look poised to keep rising thanks to strong economic growth. And this is the latest publication of the Barons. Back to the Standard. And this is the detailed cartoon that you're waking up to on the front page of today's Star. And you can see the Super G there is the Deputy President fighting the bottle, as you can see it right now. And you know all about it, what the government is doing right now with alcoholism. This is the Deputy President with his cap there, branded G. Let the games begin. This is what has been drawn inside the Standard today. Mount Kenya Peace Soccer Tournament is a can of worms, as you can see it, because of 2027 elections. And you can see all the worms are wriggling out of that particular can. And public service official sponsors of this, leave it for you to decipher this. This is inside the Standard this morning. And also, inside the People Daily, can you prevent it before it happens? Right? This is all about femicide cases, police dealing with the femicide cases, and they look to be asleep, as depicted here by Stano inside the People Daily this morning. Also, the prodigal Chiloba is a man with the 9 lives. As you can see, it's always, he sits, is on fire. Wherever he sits, he can sit to be shaking into place. That is from Communications Authority of Kenya. And also IBC as well. Now he's got an ambassadorial position, as you can see it. That is the prodigal Chiloba. And Raila for AUC Symphony. Raila, they say you cannot whistle a symphony. It takes a whole orchestra to play it. As you can see it here now, the orchestra is on. And this is the East African community. Who is the leader there? He once said that if you want to lead a choir or an orchestra, your back must face the crowd. And this seems to be happening right now, as has been depicted here by Victor. And also, which way, Raila? Right? Looking at the compass, all the hands are facing every which way. As you can see, Azimio new game plan is here as well. So this is currently what is happening right now as far as AU is concerned. Right, let me just rope in our guests who are already here in studio. Maybe we can begin here with Dr. Nyikal, just to comment on the editorial cartoon that we do have, the prodigal Chiloba. What do you have to say with the recent appointment?
I think that... Morning.
Morning to you. Good to see you.
And my colleagues, morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Yes, well, Chiloba is an interesting man. Wherever he has been, he has had a lot of controversy around him. IBC was actually the first one. He had a very serious issues there. I think the lady they were working with actually had to leave the country. Circumstances were not clear even until now. He left because he had a problem with the IBC, and then he went to Kenya to the Communication Authority. Again, he had problems of integrity that came out, and now he's got a job as an ambassador. So you just wonder, the one thing that I think many people will question, many Kenyans will question, if you have so much doubt, if there's been so many questions about one's integrity, but they just seem to move from one important job to another, it reflects back on the eighth of the nation, that whoever is making appointments really must have this. And if there are facts that maybe wherever he was, what was said about him was not true, that then should come out. Because otherwise, people just say, okay, you don't have to do your work well, you don't have to look at issues of integrity. Whatever happens, you will leave one job and go to the other. And it makes people think that there are people who are perhaps being protected. That's my response to the whole thing. Yes.
All right, let's hear from Hila again. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Liba.
You were on no show last week.
Morning.
Yeah.
Yes, last week I was unable to be here. I had traveled. And of course I missed the program, I missed the session, I missed the interaction.
Yes.
But I thank God we're back here today.
Karibu sana.
I'm happy to see you all. Well, with the editorial, I've just picked on the three of them. I've picked on the one by Chiloba, the other one, Moses Kuria,
Yes.
the CS, and the third one, Raila, AU, the Symphony, and I'll first start with Chiloba's one. Remember during the time Chiloba was in IBC, there was a cliche that went on Chiloba because of the ability that he could to do what he was supposed to do. But let me comment in the context of what my colleague, Dr. here has made. It's true that he left IBC, remember that time, in some very controversial situations. He had an issue with the commission, and he was the head of the secretariat. Fortunately, well, I'm a lawyer by training, so as to whether or not there was an issue, remember Chiloba went to court, and a finding was made, and he exited when he had been cleared and there wasn't any negative finding against him. He, in fact, was compensated, if I can recall the facts very well, of the decision of the court. He went to CA after a stint of a number of years when he was away, he had gone back for further studies. He left CA in circumstances which I'm sure Dr. Nyikal and myself, other than what we read in the papers, can comment beyond just what the paper said. But believe you me, if it was anything that would be extremely negative to a character and personality and professionalism of an individual, I'm very sure Ezra Chiloba would not have been taken in again in the current position that he's been appointed by the president, of course subject to the approval by Parliament. He's been appointed to be the head of mission in the United States of America, Los Angeles. And I believe the appointing authority must have taken time to subject the character, personality, CV, through a verification process that would warrant or rather approve the appointment itself. Then when it gets to the level where the parliament will have got to approve that appointment together with others, because it was a long list of appointees, then a number of issues will definitely come up for clarity. And I'm sure in the fullness of time that will be cleared, because you definitely cannot appoint someone to a very important mission like the United States of America if their past is not clear and not clean. So I wish him very well. I wish him well. He's such a hard-working fellow. I worked with Chiloba in IEBC. I was one of the lawyers that represented then the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission during the time Chiloba was the secretary to the commission, and I've closely worked with him as a colleague in the profession. He's a sharp fellow. That's why he still survived despite the turbulence that every other profession would go through, especially when you work in a political environment. I know Dr. Nikal here made reference to one of the commissioners who decided to quit and left the country. That was Commissioner Kombe, I think. Kombe's stories is as good as the other stories of a number of other commissioners who have gone through IEBC. You remember the Cherera 4 stories which we had the other day. And going forward, I know we will experience a lot. Although now the last election was one of those elections that we had, I believe, an experience that we haven't had before in terms of what went on.
All right,
so I wish him well together with the team.
Right, let's hear from Geoffrey Ruku. Good morning, good to see you.
Yeah, good morning.
The people of Mbere.
Mbere people are good. We are still trying our best to deliver to our promises.
Okay.
It's quite hot in Mbere. It's always hot. So there are quite a number of things which we are trying to work on.
Politically or
No, not politically. Not in terms of politics, but the heat is
Quite interesting.
That's
Struggling with
why I'm
rain.
surprised.
Yeah?
We're struggling with rain.
No, in Mbere, it's a semi-arid area, so it's always hot throughout the year.
Oh, okay.
So I think the issues of editorial, people are appointed as ambassadors and deputy ambassadors, and one of them is Chiroba. I think he's a Kenyan. He deserves also to serve this nation. He has served this nation with dedication. We also saw, I think, a relative to Raila Odinga and getting a deputy ambassador position. Meaning that Professor Nikar must be very happy at the moment.
Why would I be happy if Odinga gets the job? It should be like for everybody else.
and probably we expect...
Maybe this is a hambija of things to come.
Things to come.
Yes.
Beginning
with this is indicative of maybe the realignment that will be happening.
Yeah. So it's not only Chiroba who got a job, also a relative to Raila Odinga got a job, meaning that the president and his team are not looking at if you are Kenyan and you deserve to serve this nation, you are qualified. It doesn't matter from which side of political defiant you come from. I think that is a message which some of these appointments bring out. But having said that, also we, the people of Mbere North, also we need some of these appointments in government. We are professionals who can also serve. Our time also, I think, is coming. We are still waiting. We didn't get positions for PSS. We are not getting for ambassadors. So we hope...
Looks like we're doing better than you.
We hope as we continue, we will be able to get at least... We have serious professionals also from Mbere North.
All right. I was trying to decipher this particular little cartoon. Let the games begin, and you can see the public service, down there in the UDA colors. That is official sponsors. You can see a can of worms there, and they are wriggling out of it. This is the MK Peace Soccer Tournament. I don't know. Maybe you can decipher for it for us, Dr. Nikal. Or you're not privy to what is really happening right now. Moses Kuria and the Mount Kenya Peace Soccer Tournament. I know he's trying to bridge that is trying to widening the region.
I just quickly see it in the context of what is going on in the politics in Mount Kenya. And what I know is that Moses Kuria is always a very controversial man, trying to bring up the issues in a different way. Now, when he's bringing Mount Kenya soccer tournament, I think, in my mind, what it means is just trying to see if he can bring together the people of Mount Kenya and try to sort out the issues that are going on there, which in my mind, for what I know for now, is really seems to be the factions there. One, the Deputy President Gachagwa's faction, and then probably another youthful faction. So it is those two teams that I think he's trying to put together. Let's see what he can do. Himself is also hard to move around quite a bit. So that's what it means to me.
All right. Let's hear from...
Well, I was just trying to get the statistics of what it's all about. Moses Kuria's tournament, peace tournament, Christian, is cutting across 11 counties, 66 constituencies, and the prize is 5 million. So remember, bottom-up economic model. We're talking about sports, tapping of talent, and also creating opportunities where necessary. I am at the moment sponsoring Wakili tournament in Bomet County. That at the moment we are at the sub-county level. We have done, I've got 5 sub-counties, I've done 2. I will be doing the finals towards the mid-February, around 13th of April, not February. Now, I want to be very objective. This one has been christened peace tournament. And you've picked something very interesting. The uniform of UDA, but rather the party colors of UDA. Of course, Moses Kuria being the sponsor. I see nothing wrong. I'm looking at Moses Kuria trying to bring together 11 counties and have the youth of this country be involved in activities that includes, of course, them practicing and ultimately getting a 5 million prize. In my tournament, I'm a small fish. The winning team will get 1 million shillings. But then again, politics cannot be lost in this, because when you look at where he even opted to launch his tournament, this is Meru. Meru is part of Mount Kenya. And politically, it has some connotations. Whether or not he's trying then to bring together Mount Kenya as a whole, the 11 counties, is something that I and you definitely would say, yes, he could be looking at it. But then, a number of other constituencies have had similar tournaments sponsored by various constituency MPs.
Thank you.
So we wish him well, as I do also mine. It is part and parcel of our political game.
All right. Maybe Ruku will be smack dab, or will fit snugly on this particular comment of Mount Kenya, right? Other than Dr. Nyikala and Sigei.
I think over the weekend there was tournament going on in Meru.
And you'll tell us, we'll find that story.
And my team from Bere North was there.
So it has started there?
Yeah, it started. Okay, sure. And my team participated. And I think, as my colleagues have said, Moses is trying to bring Mount Kenya region together. Of course, the Mount Kenya region is united so far. But the effort to ensure we are one team as Mount Kenya people is key, is important. I know Moses was not very happy with most of members of parliament who did not manage to go to Meru. Personally, I did not manage to go because I had another commitment in my constituency. But we are supporting what he's trying to bring the youth together.
Okay.
And also, it is important to note that Moses is not a member of UDA. His party is, he has a different party, I'm forgetting his name.
Chama cha Kazi.
Yes,
Chama cha Kazi.
Chama cha Kazi.
CCM.
Yes.
CCK.
CCK, yes, CCK.
which
CCM is in Tanzania.
Yes.
Which actually the party colors are not yellow and green. So it is important to note Ngando. Isn't Ngando who has done that?
This is Gams, eh?
Gams. To know Moses Kuria is not a member of UDA. He's a member of CCM.
Okay.
Chama cha Kazi.
Okay.
So.
I've not seen that.
But he's one of leaders within Mount Kenya region. We can't ignore him.
Fantastic.
So let him continue with the tournament.
I wanted just to also look at the point
Let me
briefly.
just make a little comment on that. The issue here is Mount Kenya peace. The peace and Mount Kenya. That's where you should pick it from. So I leave that to you.
Still on the appointment, because you talked about Chiloba. We've seen the president also appointing Mathuki as now an ambassador of Kenya to Russia. And still there are a lot of questions which are still hanging over his head regarding the $6 million expenditure there of the East African Legislative Assembly. So we have the Assembly which is seeking to impeach him, and yet we see the president has appointed him as the ambassador to Russia. Questions are still abound. Why would we maybe give him this particular, he give this handy opportunity to him, and still there are questions that are lingering over his financial impropriety inside the East African Legislative Assembly, and many others that we've seen also given posts.
You see, it goes back to what I was saying. When people are being appointed, I think what you look at, particularly in positions like these ones, where we are representing the country in foreign countries, I think integrity and the name is very important. Competence is useful, let me say necessary, but integrity is extremely important because it's the perception, it's the picture you are giving to the world of who you are. So if you have somebody who has issues around them, really, if you are just looking of competence, there are a lot of many other people who are competent, who can actually represent the country. So once again, to me, it just goes the same way, like the Chiloba one, though my colleague has said, Chiloba went to court and was cleared. Now, I don't know what the word clear means. Court, you can also win on technical grounds. So if you win on technical grounds, it doesn't mean you didn't do what you are supposed to, what you are said to have done. But that's not. But what is important, I think we should pick people, competent, yes, but people who have integrity, so that the image of the nation out there is not in question, in doubt. You don't want somebody once they go out there, people say, but is it not the same one that had this issue that had not been resolved? So you start them whenever you are being represented. I've been to some of these meetings. Whenever you're being represented, people are already mumbling something about you. They say, okay, it's Kenya again. Okay, it's one of them. No, that kind of thing you really don't want. So my position is, even in his case, if you go legally, maybe the issue has not been, nothing has been proved. But if I was really keen on if I wanted to help him, if help is the issue in this case, then I would wait for that to be cleared. There would be other things to come. And if somebody is cleared in a situation like this and is going for a job like this, it's also important to actually make some public effort for it to be known that he has been really cleared of that. My experience has been in Parliament. These people will come to us to be cleared in Parliament. And every time we have had people where there have been issues, and the issues where sometimes Parliament, even despite the two sides, have actually expressed doubt, but they eventually have gone. In the end, you have actually found that there was something that wasn't right. So my view is, don't start off with people who have things to be proven.
Right, so we had Sergey, you were talking about being cleared by the courts. Chiloba had been given the green lights, so to speak, by the courts. And this later also to his point. What would you have to say about Mathuki, who has questions around his integrity as well?
One of the most unfortunate things, Dibal, is that you see, an allegation against someone's character and integrity is an allegation. Because one of the things that I would say as a Kenyan, as a person of integrity in terms of making a choice, it is an allegation. If at all we are saying that now you have actually been convicted of a corruption allegation, you see, you would have a basis to tell someone off. You would have a reason as the appointing authority to tell someone you are not. Despite your qualifications, there is this allegation. In the case of Mathuki as well, I'm not privy so much to the allegation about his integrity, about the financial impropriety, and the push by the East African Legislative Assembly to impeach him from office. But all that I know is that they will also have a reason and a platform to say, look, I am innocent until proven guilty. This is just an allegation. And the beauty about this, Dibal, is that this is an appointment which is subject to an approval by another independent authority. In this case, this is the parliament. I'm very sure at the level of Mathuki and his other appointed officials, when they are taken through the Parliamentary Committee on Defense and Foreign Relations, there is always a window within which members of the public can submit written petitions and memorandum about certain issues that they feel such an appointed person has and should not be approved. And it's during this time, you remember there are certain incidences where the committees in Parliament have rejected an appointee on the basis of the information they have received, because these informations are normally received by the under oath, such that even if one is still a subject of an investigation, for example, you definitely cannot deny such a person an opportunity to progress. But then, if submissions are made by members of the public or even government agencies or institutions and say, look, we have an issue with person X who's been appointed, and these are the allegations against such a person, it is within the mandate of the committee to subject the information which has been received under oath to further scrutiny. If they feel and find that indeed the allegations are so grave, they have a mandate to reject such an appointed person.
All right.
And I believe
Thank you.
This is the opportunity for Kenyans who feel that such persons are not fit to go and represent the country from where they have been sent to take them before the committee. And I'm very sure our committee, which is headed by, I think the chairperson is Nelson Koech, the MP for Belgood. It's such a very professional team that I know they will give us the right people and reject the wrong people.
Let's hear from Ruku before we take a short break. I think time is taking up to a short break. Let's hear, what do you think about the appointment? We've seen previously, if any member of, let's say, the executive, with the cabinet secretaries before all the ministers, if there are questions around their integrity, they will have stepped aside until further investigation goes on, and then they're cleared. Then they can be reappointed. But here we can see people were saying, especially from the Yala, that the president has given a launching or a landing pad for Mr. Mathuki, and there are questions around impropriety.
I think as a society, as a community, we need to reach to a point where we don't say things which are not true.
Yes.
We don't have serious allegations against which are untruth against character or integrity.
But how do you say is untruth and investigations are not yet over?
What I'm saying is, if it is some democracies, some nations, when such kind of issues come out, when, for instance, members of Parliament of East African Legislative Assembly are pushing for impeachment or resignation of Mathuki as Secretary General. So they must be having some reasons why they want him out. So what I'm saying is we need, as a community, as a society, when we are pushing for that, to be the truth and nothing else but the truth. That we are sure the integrity of so-and-so does not fit the bill, does not make him to be suited to serve as a Secretary General of East Africa Community, so that the issue of appointing him to another position does not arise. But now we have a situation where people will come up with all manner of rumors, make you get sacked from your position, and all those rumors are not true. So probably that's why Mathuki is getting another, where his place of work has become a bit hostile, he has not created probably good working environment with his members. And the best thing is to get him to another station. So the problem will be, if he goes to another station, then create the same not very good working relationship, whoever will find that, then it means it's a demeanor to hold some position. It's not okay. In developed nations, or democracies or societies, with such kind of allegation, the best thing would be step aside, or not even step aside, just resign and go home and go and do other things. We have seen it happening in many other countries. But I think we are not ripe enough for us to say, if you are the boss, your environment is creating discord within the members you are working with, within the team you're working with, the best thing would be to go home, not to be appointed to another position. But we are not yet there as a society, and we would want to be there, where if you are minister, if you are PS, if you are even whatever senior a state officer, and things are not working properly, just resign and go.
Right. Let me just agree with my friend.
Could I just take a short break, because my music is up, so that when we circle back we can continue, when we look also at the yellow members of parliament who are rooting for Raila Odinga's bid as far as the African Union chairmanship is concerned. And this is a requirement from the East Africa Treaty as far as the appropriation is concerned. If this eye-popping figure that is being floated here, that is $6 million, was not appropriated by the Legislative Assembly, then there are questions which are bound to arise on why that never happened, despite the fact that we have a treaty which calls for appropriation by, of course, the Legislative Assembly because of